Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. It's like you've never left. Well, kind of. Yeah. Anyway, welcome to Pardon Me, Alex, the only Lumberjack basketball podcast on the air, baby. We are back. Jaclyn's feeling a lot better. She's becoming herself again. She has life. Not 100% yet, but she will get there. How are you doing, girl?
I'm good. I'm just very tired, but I no longer feel like I'm dying, so that's a real improvement.
That's honestly all that matters is the fact that you don't feel like you're dying, because I hated that. Having you down and out for a week or for a week plus was just not. It wasn't like you. So
no, I made it from my bed to the couch today, and that was quite an improvement.
I'm so happy. I'm glad that you're on the mend and you're feeling better and we can get back to our normal shenanigan ways.
It's quite a hiatus. I did not like it.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we have a lot to catch up on today. We're talking about two games, Tarleton and UTA, both at home. And so we're going to go and talk about both of those. We're going to try and summarize it as best as we can so that we're not monopolizing too much of your time, because I know it's Friday night and I know you got things to do. And so we are, oh, wait a minute, Mr. McDonald, about to get on my plane to Texas. See y'all Sunday. Oh, we are so excited that he's coming back to Texas.
I'm so excited.
Soon. I know. I feel like you were just here and oh my God. I don't know what that noise was. Excited to see you again, man.
I know. I'll be alive and well on Sunday. I can't wait.
Yeah, great. We're so excited to see Kyle at Tailgate on Sunday. Glad that he's coming in for the CBU game. And so we are pumped for that. But anyway, well, you have a safe flight, bud. We'll see you soon. With that being said, let's get it started. Man, what a crazy few weeks it's been for Lumberjack basketball. Highs, lows, the thrill of the victory and the agony of defeat, I feel like, is kind of how we can describe the past few days, or not days, past few weeks here with SFA basketball. And so it'll be interesting to see how we finish out the season and how things go from here on out, and hoping for good things from our boys. But tonight, we're here to talk about the Tarleton and UTA games, both at home. We'll obviously start off with Tarleton because that is the first game or the last game that we left off on. And so that game was on, what was that? It was a Wednesday, right?
Yep, Wednesday, February 15th.
Gotcha. That's right. God, that feels like so long ago. I mean, it's almost March, so I guess it was a while ago. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was a Wednesday game, and what was our background with Tarleton? I know we played them before you even went into the WAC, and so but not much. But what was our overall record history?
Yeah, we played them a little. We going into this, our overall record was 9 wins and 2 losses. Last season, so we had only played them 11 times, so not just a whole lot in the past. Last season, we only played them once on the road. We lost 77-71. That was the game when me and my family went, and it was a messy game. Our largest margin of victory was 126-86 in 1972, and then our smallest margin of victory was 64-57 in 1974. So yeah, we played them several times, like around in the 80s. So I didn't fact check it, but if I had to take just like a random guess, I would guess maybe we were like in the Lone Star Conference together at that time.
That would make more sense. But yeah, interesting. And a lot of people are, because, we're losing Sam Houston to FBS and they won't be in the WAC anymore. A lot of people are trying to like push us on a couple different paths for our new in-state rivalry. And some people are saying, oh, yeah, it's going to be Tarleton, or, oh, yeah, it's going to be ACU. And I'm just like, okay, just pump the brakes here, people. You can't just force a rivalry, That's just not how this works. So pretty interesting that we have a pretty small but albeit long-standing tradition of playing them back into the 70s. So that's pretty interesting. So we're going to pop right over the WAC standings and the seating because obviously this was from February 15th and the standings and stuff aren't going to be updated. They're updated to what is currently, how it was currently. So it would make no sense to talk about those two at the moment, but I'm pretty sure we're in the same position we were back on the 15th at the 6th seed. So there isn't really much to report in that context. So yeah. So just going straight into the game notes and talking about the game itself.
Yeah, so it was kind of our typical starting lineup: Terrell, Rati, Day, AJ, and Nana. We did win by 5 points, 65-60. Our attendance was 2180. For Sean Kennedy's stat section, our field goal percentage was 50%. Our 3-point percentage pretty high at 42.9. Our free throw percentage, not the greatest, 62.5. I'm glad we won this game because our points in the paint were really low, 22. Our points off turnovers, we had 14. Second chance points, we had 11. Fast break points, we had 13. 23 bench points. So our rebounds were good this game. We had 37. We out-rebounded them by 10. We had 7 offensive boards and 30 defensive boards.
Wow.
A lot of defensive boards.
A lot of defensive boards, yeah.
We had 22 fouls. We had 15 turnovers. They only had 12 turnovers. We had 4 steals and 3 blocks. Our game leader was Nigel with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. And then closely trailing, we had Terrell with 16 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal.
Man. So our Pilgrim's Pride player of the game was who?
I had to choose Nigel for that one. He played great.
Yeah, and I'm if I can recall back, I'm pretty sure he was also the player of the game that night too. I think so too. The Pilgrim's Pride player of the game that they choose. But man, this was a wild game. It was a wild game. You know, there was no point in this game where I felt like we were safe, really. It was one of those games where it wasn't necessarily like lead change back and forth the entire time. You know, there were a bunch of lead changes, but it was close enough throughout the majority of the game to where it was too close, you know? Yeah. And I mean, we go in at the half tied 32-32, right? And then we come out of the half and we're struggling to, you know, kind of pick back where we left off on, you know, that high. Like it kind of into a little bit of a scoring drought. So it was just a really, really good game all in all. It was a nail biter. Yeah, but let's talk about the positives. Let's talk about the strengths. Who do you want to talk about first?
Well, so one random funny note, and I could be wrong because I'm not 100% at all, but whenever I rewatched this game earlier today, I'm almost positive that I saw because remember when Shannon's dad would come to our games, he would sit in that same little spot by the tunnel? Yeah. I'm almost positive he was there to watch Shamir.
Oh, that's
him.
Oh.
It looked like him, and it was in the same spot, but yeah. I didn't rewind back. But
that's fair. That would be cool. I mean, I'm sure he did because I'm sure they, you know, I'm sure they did come, or he at least came to see Shamir play. For those of you who are like, who the hell are they talking about? It felt like many moons ago. A few years ago, pre-COVID, we had a player on our team, Shannon Bogues. He was from what JUCO did he transfer from? He was a JUCO transfer. Let's just say that. He was a JUCO transfer as a, you know, obviously coming over sophomore, junior. So he played for us for a few seasons, few years. And he's just fantastic. Like, I mean, we really honestly hit the jackpot most of the time with our JUCO transfers, and he was definitely one of them. And just a fantastic addition to the Lumberjack team. He was fast. He was quick. He's so athletic. He actually is playing overseas, and if you were following our page on Instagram, his team overseas actually just won their championship. And I'm gonna have to go back.
What country is it again he's in right now?
Switzerland. I was like, I had to quickly go back and look. So he plays for a team in Switzerland. I'm probably gonna totally butcher it.
I would too.
Yeah, it's SAM Basket Massagino. That's probably wrong, but anyway. But so he plays professionally in Switzerland. We'll just say that. Anyway, and their team just won the championship for the Swiss Basketball League. So that's really cool. So anyway, he's doing well. He's playing professionally. And so his younger brother, Shamir, when he was looking to transfer to a 4-year college, D1, we were like almost fingers crossing that he would choose to come to SFA 2, which we kind of figured he wouldn't. He didn't want to live, obviously, in, any shadows or anything. But he's just as athletic as his brother, so we were hoping. But yeah, so Shamir, he plays for Tarleton. So there's a little background context for you. Any hooser. So let's talk. Let's talk about it. Oh Jesus, I hit the wrong button. Okay, we're good. So yeah, who are we gonna talk about first?
Well, my very first note before I had even looked at the stats was some great rebounds from Day. He got 14 rebounds.
That's insane. That might be the most any player has had in a single game all season. I'd have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure that's the highest of the season for a single player.
I think it is. I'll look it up while you talk.
Yeah, that's just insane. Day he is so consistent, on for many reasons, but one of those is that he is such a workhorse, and I'll say this again when we talk about even the UTA game, and of course talking about the game that we just played against ACU. His footwork is bananas. He plays that old school type of basketball, and it's a beautiful sight to see. And so when you see numbers like he put up, he had 12 defensive rebounds of his 14. I mean, he was under the basket fighting hard for those rebounds, and it paid off. He had 8 points. He had a steal. He had a block. He had 2 assists, and then let's see what else. He was 3 for 5 with his field goal. So I mean, again, he's there. He's Mr. Consistency. He played the most minutes. He was playing for 36 minutes. He was out there hustling.
That was confirmed. That is the highest individual rebound this season. Game high rebounds.
I don't remember a lot of things, but for some reason that stuck out. So that tracks.
I thought the same.
Yeah. He's just nuts. Day is just again, he's a nutball. He's not the only one on the team. So I'm going to say that he's not the only one on the team that I consider a workhorse, but he is so good. And it's just a thing of beauty to watch him play. And I can't wait. And I hopefully cannot wait to continue watching him play for SFA in the future years. Cause he's still pretty young. He's not a junior. He's not a senior. I mean, he's pretty young still. So he has a way to go. What else about Day?
This is every game because he's just so consistent. But in this game, I felt like he really had some moves to the bucket that were just so good.
Always.
So I put so good in all caps.
Oh, absolutely. I you can't say enough about him, to be honest with you. He's just insane. Career high. That was his career high of 14 rebounds on the night. That's another thing to add under his belt there on that game. So love watching Day. Let's go on, talk about another guy who always shows up when we need him. My boy Trell. I say our boy Trell, not my boy. He's all of our boys. Oh my God. I just can't help but smile when I watch this kid play. Like, it's nuts. Like, he is wild. Just when you think that, he's shown us all he can do, he continues to just push and push and push. He was perfect with his 3-pointers this game. 4 for 4. Perfect. How often does that happen when you're perfect on your threes?
Not very.
Exact. I mean, Insane. 4 for 4.
Some of the ones that he took this game, I mean, we've always seen him throw some up from like way out, but several of them were like way out.
Honestly, his range is like NBA range.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a 3-point shooter on our team like him. It's been a while. It's been a very long time.
I agree.
That's something we haven't had in a really long time. Someone who is consistent behind the arc. Like,
yeah. God.
And he not only is consistent beyond the arc, but he also has the court presence to know when he doesn't have a shot and it's not a good shot, and he either dumps it off to somebody else or he takes it in. He drives it into the basket. He knows how to do that too. He's shown that he knows how to drive it into the basket too, or have enough court presence to realize, okay, this isn't my shot. I don't have a good shot here. So he dumps it off to like Nigel or Rati or someone else. So I just love his hypeness and fire on the court. And we've said this about him many times and we'll continue talking about it. It is just bar none. He gets everyone else on the court hyped up. And that's something you just can't teach. That's just something that's ingrained into his soul, I feel like, Yeah,
and he's always great on defense too. One of my other notes was he took a really great charge. He just has really good like court vision on when he has the opportunity to get himself set and take a good charge. And I love to see that.
That's really true. I wish there was a stat out there where you could see how many charges he's taken this entire season. Like, I would love to know what that is, because he's one of the guys on the team that I feel like he's always putting himself in the right position to take a charge. And not just one, he takes multiple per game.
Right. And I mean, it's one thing to like just get in the way and try to take one, but to successfully take one takes another skill set. Because a lot of players, they're willing to put their body on the line, but they aren't executing it properly to actually get in position and actually take it and get the whistle their way. So
right, it's a great point. So yeah, I mean, we could go on and on and on about Trell, about Day. Another guy who had a fantastic night, high point, our boy Nigel. Holy moly. I feel like, Nigel's been playing well all season, but for something within the past, like, I would say month, maybe a little bit less or more or less, he's been on a different plane. Like, he's been playing lights out. And it may not be high point, but he's playing lights out. I don't know who slipped him something in his Cheerios. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not mad about it one bit, because he's just been playing lights out. That 22-point game is just, that's so good for him. Coming off of his injuries from last year and all the things that he's gone through, all the adversity he's gone through, I just could not be happier for him. 8 of 14. He sunk a 3. He was almost perfect on his free throws. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. You already talked about his stat line, but of course, a lot of stuff that you see from Nigel doesn't necessarily show up in the stats either. It's also he's usually, and I don't know if it was this game. I think it was this game where I was listening to the post game with him and Kyle and Coach Keller and Trell. I think that was this game. And I'm pretty sure it was Nigel who said, usually I'm pretty chill on the court. Like, I don't get super, emotional or I don't really get very, I don't know how to describe it. We'll say emotional. But when he looked over after he hit a 3 and he saw Trell flip out and like screaming and yelling when Nigel hit 3, Nigel just couldn't help it. He's like, I couldn't help it. I got excited. I freaked out. I was screaming. I was getting pumped up. And that's just the effect that Trell has on the rest of the team. And that's something that, again, you don't normally see from Nigel. He's usually pretty even keeled. Like, not much really gets after him, positively or negatively. He's just goes out there, hits the three or, gets a breakaway layup or dunk, and then he just continues on. Like, he doesn't do celebrations usually. He just kind of lets it go. But that was that game where he saw Trell flip out and he just immediately started doing the same thing, like type stuff. So love Nigel, man. I think he's really entering his stride right now, and it just needs to continue charging forward.
Yeah, and I feel like we said maybe on one of the last episodes, didn't we say something about how we feel like Nigel sometimes performs better under pressure?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's a really good point. And I agree. I think I'm pretty sure we did say that. And I can see that he does. I mean, the pressure is on. It's literally the end of the season. We have 2 games. We have the game on Saturday, or this game on Sunday. We have the Sam Houston. We have 3 games left, so we have 3 games left, 2 of them at home and 1's away. And we have every opportunity to, hopefully make up some points in the seeding, and potentially, again, I'd have to check and see what they were currently, but they might be able to sneak up one here if we get Grand Canyon to lose a couple. But yeah, the pressure's on, and we're heading into WAC Vegas, and we just need them to continue putting the pressure on the other teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else about Nigel from this game?
I mean, he just played great, and he had several. I feel like we don't see it from him a lot, but when he's on, he'll do several just like pull up jumpers that you aren't expecting. So I feel like most of the time his scoring is more of maybe some outside shooting and mostly driving in, but not necessarily like a range jumper. But he really excels at that. So when he does it, I was pleasantly surprised. I felt like most of his scoring was kind of that mid-range.
Yeah. Him and Trell both finished that first half with 12 points. I mean, so already kicking butt there in the beginning of the first half. And he was the I was trying to remember what I had read or saw, or never mind. I guess I read it wrong, but let's go on and talk about our boy Rowe. Another good night, 11 points, 2 assists. What else did Rowe have? 3 for 8 on the field goal, 4 for. I mean, he was almost 100% on his free throws. A good night from him. Anything on your end about Rowe?
Nothing specific. I mean, he played great, but I'm just low on notes for these few games. Y'all.
Yeah, I know. Other thing I want to say is, yes, of course, Day had, we know he had 14 rebounds, but who else had some good rebounds was Nana. Nana had 6 rebounds. He had 2 blocks from him. He had a steal, which you don't normally see from Nana, him stealing the ball. So that's nice. Love to see that there. Yeah, so that was good. And yeah, so a lot of good stuff. Who else is in there? Robbie had a nice steal in there. He had 4 rebounds, and he only played for 11 minutes. Whenever he's in the game, he goes off, man. It's just yeah. I can't even. It's just wild to me. You know what I mean? He just is a complete terror. I don't even like, and I mean that in the best positive way. Like, he's just a terror.
Yeah, we love him. Another note I was going to say about Nana was those 2 blocks, he blocked Shamir twice, and they were both really good blocks.
Of course.
Very nice.
Of course it was Shamir. Love that. Were there any other notes you had about the game positively before we move on to the next section?
Yeah, I have one random one about our threes. So whenever I was watching it back today, I think it was Chase saying that we are currently 6th, or at that day anyway, 6th in the nation on 3-point percentage, and tied for oh my gosh, tied for first in the WAC. Highest 3-point percentage overall. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
And it's amazing that the WAC has 2 of the top 6. I mean,
that's what you don't normally see that out of a mid-major school or conference like that. So that's awesome. Okay, great. Let's move on.
Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're going to hear about it. You.
All right, Jaclyn, let's hear about it.
So, I don't feel like it was as bad whenever I watched the game back. But I feel like during the game, I felt like I really had a lot of complaints with the officiating.
Yeah.
So I don't know where the disconnect was on that, but who knows? But definitely during the game, I was like, I just couldn't understand. Maybe there were just several calls that were really egregious that bothered me, but it just like made me wonder, do these referees still like kiss Billy Gillespie's ass like he's some big something? I don't know. That's all I could think of during the game, because I don't know. I felt like he got a lot of calls, and you can tell when you feel like officials are like showing more deference to one coach than the other. And I mean, I get it. He used to coach at Kentucky, big freaking whoop, whatever.
I mean, but still, exactly, big whoop. Who cares? Who cares where he used to coach? It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter if one coach is some peon from a D1 team in the lowest division or lowest conference in the league, and then on the other side you got like Coach K or like Calipari. Like, it shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter. You call the game based off what's happening in front of you and not who the hell's behind you on the bench. Like,
I agree.
And so that's just how that goes. But yeah, this game, first thing that sticks out to me, is those low points in the paint. And I don't know if it was just because we were struggling against some of their bigs. It might have been. I mean, but they only had 24 points in the paint too. So it wasn't.
And we ended with Nana and Day both with 4 fouls. So that definitely impacted our points.
Yeah. And they also had two guys with 4 personal fouls, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is Tarleton with 3 fouls. We had 1, 2 guys with 4 fouls. 1, 2, 3 with 3 fouls. So there was a lot of fouls going on in this game. Nobody fouled out, but there was a lot of fouls being thrown out on both sides. But yeah, so I had to feel like just scoring in the paint this game was just non-existent. I mean, it was there, but it wasn't as prevalent as it usually is. They had a couple guys on their team. I mean, their 3-point percentage wasn't great, but Lou Williams, number 5, he had 2 out of 3. There was 7 threes made on the other team, but it wasn't like an amazing showing from threes on their side. But again, just, the type of defense we run, it's going to leave somebody open for a 3, and there we go. There you have it. The biggest difference I would say in this game, obviously, is, of course, just the 3-point percentage is what kind of led us over the top, along with the free throw percentage too. And I mean, we were ahead in pretty much every category except for free throws. And with their free throws, I mean, they didn't have that many. They had 9 out of 12. I mean, they had 12 total, and we had 24.
Yeah.
So anyway, another big stat that just is glaring at me that just irritates the balls out of me is that dang turnover. We're known to be one of the best teams in the nation in forced turnovers and turnovers forced. And here we are yet again having more turnovers than the other team. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah, I don't like that either. The only other 2 little notes that I had on the officiating was I think the thing that, now that I'm looking at my notes, I think the thing that bugged me the most was they were hand checking the entire game and not
Mhm.
putting a whistle on it, and I hate that.
Mm.
Because like I've dissected before for 47 minutes, that's what really gets players riled up and frustrated and causes more heat during the game where it's not needed. And I don't really remember what happened, and I couldn't tell when I watched it back today, but they called that double tech between AJ and one of their players, and I'm sure it was kind of along that lines. Like, you have somebody literally grabbing on you the whole game, and then you don't get the call, and then some little bump happens, and you get, rightly frustrated and say something. So I'm sure that's what it was. My other little note on the officiating is kind of funny. We just thought this game had a lot of reviews.
Oh.
Until we fast forwarded to Wednesday of this week, and we'll cover that game probably tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I have lots of notes on all the officiating reviews for that game.
Lots of notes. I know. That's a good point. I honestly thought that this game had the most reviews I've ever had to sit through in my life. And we were getting so irritated. And then, of course, the ACU game happens, and I was like, man, I'm wrong.
I know. I was laughing when I watched it back today, because I was like, we just thought they were doing a lot of reviews then. Little did we know what was coming.
Right. Just wild, man. Wild.
So a few other things. You mentioned the back door, and yeah, I hate that too. We did two smaller things on offense, but that can cause a lot of turnovers. We had multiple times of stepping out of bounds on the left sideline, like multiple times. And we just had a lot of sloppy ball handling and passing. Like there was sloppy bringing the ball down the court, like just sloppy, or picking up the dribble before you even get to half court. And I'm like, well, now you just isolated yourself on an island. You're not even down there yet. It's like the number one do not rule for a point guard. And we just made a lot of sloppy passes, like especially I feel like into the lane to Nana. And that's what creates a lot of those turnovers that we mentioned a few minutes ago, that we just absolutely hate when another team has less than we do. And that's where a lot of those are coming from. Yeah. And with Nana, I'm like, man, he's almost 7 foot tall. Like, you got a pretty big window of opportunity. If you pass it too low or too high for Nana, then you're way off the mark. Yeah. And of course, we love Nana so much, and we are so impressed with his improvement over the past year, but still, he has a long way to go. And he's not the best ball handler under the basket. So, you would think by now people would understand that, and we wouldn't toss him a ball, pass him a ball, down at his freaking ankles. Yeah, it's a long way to reach down. And again, he's not the best at ball handling under the basket when you have 3 or 4 guys up on him trying to, again, create turnovers and create disruption down there under the basket. So I was like, just come on, guys. We got to find a different way to get Nana the ball that doesn't involve, passing it to his ankles. Yeah, completely. 100%. Okay. Anything else for that game? Negatively wise, grievance wise? Okay. So yeah, easiest way to do this would be just to go and do our one word to describe the game. And then we'll move on to the next game. So Jaclyn, what's your one word to describe the game? I just said retribution, because being at that loss to them last season was so frustrating. So I was so happy that we could beat them at home to even it back out. That's great. Because, yeah, that's true. We only, for some reason, last season and this season, we've only played them once. We played them once there, and now they play them once here back at home. Obviously, next season, we'll most likely be playing them twice the way that it should be, because of, us losing Sam Houston and New Mexico. So that will kind of even things out. But, yeah, great. So right. That game was so hard for you to watch in person. I remember. It was a really frustrating game, and there were multiple issues with either their fans or their staff being really disrespectful. All I got to say is if you get Gary Miller fired up, then it's you. I mean,
it's you, not me. It's you. Yeah, I get that. So my one word to describe was Hawk. Nigel Hawkins, the big Hawk, played such a great game with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, he had a fantastic showing, great game, led the team the entire night. He was, again, just being that senior graduate level presence that, experience on the court really showing and shining through. So got to give it to the Night Hawk, Big H, the Hawk. Really loved his game and watching him play that night. And so, yeah. But all right. So moving from this game to the next game, to take a quick little break here for a second and talk a little bit about the few things that we have that's new on our merch, our amazing website of game day merch. So let me quickly, just going to take a quick little break, like I said, and share the screen and show you what we have added to our merch store. So as a reminder, you can get to our merch by just going directly to our website, which is on all of our social media sites and all of our social media. There's a link to it, so you can easily find it whenever you go and you pull up our site, which I'm doing for you right now. You will see our main page here, and you can just peruse through that. And then you can, and those who are listening, you just go to, like I said, all of our social media pages, and the link to our website's right on there. You can't miss it. So then you go to the top little button here. It talks about shop our merch, adding new designs all the time. You just click the little link down here. It talks about Bonfire. It'll open it in a new tab. Let me share that tab. And then you'll be directed to our store. And our store is on Bonfire. And we use this just because it's an easy way to collect money. We design the shirts, and then Bonfire literally takes care of the rest, which is very easy for us. And so we appreciate it. But yeah, so we've added a bunch of new designs on here. The newest ones will be up here at the very tippity top. So we have this new one, Press You. Let me zoom in for you. There you go. Press You, trying to little play on a university seal with the Press You up there. You got pine cones, but you got the basketball on the back, the axes, and of course the pine trees founded in 1923. So that's one of the new designs. And then we also have this new design right here, Lumberjack B-ball with a basketball in the background. And then we have right here, Welcome to the Sawmill. So, obviously, if you are unaware, the Sawmill is the nickname for William R. Johnson Coliseum. And so wanted to give a little bit of a nod to them. One of the other newest designs we have on here is what we call the Mason. So, Jaclyn, you want to give a little bit of background on this design?
Yeah, I can't remember who came up with it and did it.
I think it might have been Chauncey.
But yeah, whenever we had Coach Mason for the first several seasons that Keller was here as one of the assistants. He was diagnosed with, I believe, colon cancer, and really health is doing very well now. But it was a rough time, and so we did this little fundraiser and kind of show, or I don't even know if it was a fundraiser, but more just like to show support for him. So yeah, this was the design that was created, and a bunch of people ordered shirts. And so if you're one of those people that have one of these shirts, or at least one of these designs in the past, you'll remember it. And Chauncey was amazing enough, Miss Keller, Coach Keller's wife, was amazing enough to send us the exact design and logo and design for it, and to add it to our website. So now if you never got a shirt, now you can get one. So that's what we call it, the Mason, for our Coach Wade Mason. And then we have another little game day vibes, a little smiley basketball kind of feel to it. And then the rest are obviously things that have been on there since the beginning. Lumberjack basketball, giant killers, Lumberjack basketball game day, things like that. So go crazy. Get yourself all the merch you want. I mean, I think if you order now, you may get it in time for
the March Madness and the WAC Vegas games. I don't know if you'll get it in time for the last home game with Sam Houston, but you'll get it. So there's that. We may add. I've been thinking about this the other day. I hadn't even told Jaclyn about my idea yet, but I'm thinking about maybe doing like a shirt for some of the other teams too. Maybe doing a baseball shirt. Maybe doing like a football shirt. Soccer, volleyball, not like as many as we have for basketball, because obviously it's for, our podcast is basketball, but just throwing a little love, to the other teams out there. And, we try to design these so that you could wear them to both the girls and the guys games, so that, it's not like just, men's or women's basketball, it's basketball in general. So, because we're all lumberjacks. So, just kind of throwing that out there too. So, anywho, moving on. Game number 2. This one's not going to be as easy to talk about. But before the game, we had a lot of fun. So moving on to the game it was Saturday, February 18th at home versus UTA. So University of Texas, Arlington. Best part of the game and day was the tailgate. Let's just say that. And the Heckler Hayes reunion that Matt Atkins had planned. Great tailgate, had an amazing time. I know Jaclyn didn't feel great, and she troopered and suffered through it. Bad game for her to feel sick for and to come down.
That was first of all, the FOMO of like wanting to enjoy tailgate, and I was supposed to spend the whole weekend in NAC, and I ended up just driving to NAC for the tailgate and the game, and then back because that's the only time I left my bed all weekend. So there was that, but then also since we did the Hecklers section, we stood the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Not the game I wanted to be standing the whole time, but I did it.
You did do it. You were a trooper. And I tip my hat to you, my non-existent hat. I'm not going to say that I blame us for not sitting in our normal seats for the loss, but a little part of me does. But it was for a good cause. Yeah. So anyway, it was the Heckler Hayes reunion weekend game. We had a bunch of people in town, a bunch of our friends, I call them our basketball bunch. That's just what I call our little like crew of basketball friends that we like travel to games with. We sit with at games, away and home, etc. Anyway, and so we had a nice tailgate with them out across in the parking lot. Shout out to SFA, Alumni Association, R&K, Fredoni Brewery, all the people that showed up. It was an amazing day, great amount of people that came for the tailgate. I wish more people would have came and bought tickets and sat with us in the Heckler Hayes section. We could have used you, but it was still a good day minus the game itself. But we'll talk about that. But yeah, I had a great time, kind of reliving some Heckler days over there with the crew. So yeah, really good day, wonderful planned event. Kudos to Matt for putting all that together. It's not easy trying to plan an event and, hope that people show up for it. And so, because we're obviously doing that right now with our Sunday Fun Day tailgate. But so yeah, good day minus the 2 hours of this game. So let's talk about it. So general history, background with us and UTA.
Yeah, so we've actually played UTA quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
We going into that game, we had 19 wins and 24 losses. Largest margin of victory was 110-77 in 1995. Smallest margin of victory was 65-64 in 1997. We did play them earlier this season on New Year's Eve. We won 66-62 on the road. Before that, we hadn't played them since 2012. But I think for a number of years leading up to 2012, we were they were in our conference. So I think they were in the Southland with us for a while.
Yeah, I think they were too. Yeah. So Again, going to skip over the WAC standings and seating. Nothing really changed. We were still in the same position before and after this game at the 6th position for seating. So no reason to go into more detail and depth than that. So moving right along into our game notes and our stat section.
So we had same starters as we have, consistently for a while. Trail, Rati, Day, AJ, Nana. We lost 75-70. I will say we had a decent attendance with 3,488.
It was well attended. There was a lot of people there.
So
a lot of students, but a lot of people.
Yeah. Sean Kennedy's stat section, our field goal percentage overall was 36.9. Vomit. That is worse than I felt on Saturday. Her 3-point percentage was 30. Our free throw percentage was 64.
Still bad, but yeah.
Our points in the paint were better than the previous game. We had 34. Our points off turnovers were 28. It's also not bad. Really, none of our other stats were that bad. I'm just going to preface that now. But, free throw percentage went great. But anyway, second chance points, we had 12. Bench points, we had 23. Our total rebounds, we had 35. 17 offensive and 18 defensive we had, which is great. We normally don't get that many offensive rebounds. I mean, we're normally in single digits for the offensive board. So are you frozen or am I frozen? I will keep going just in case. They had 17 fouls. We only had 19 turnovers. Not 9 turnovers, sorry. Now I'm all messed up. I guess we're both frozen. Cool. Okay.
Hey.